to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, Angela Pearson, author of I'm Not Contagious, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 167 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I am your co-host, Luke Millette. Here's your host, Jim Chester.
Hey everybody, so today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Eric Nepute, and if you want to know more about linking arms as a greater chiropractic profession, stay tuned. All right, so we have Dr. Eric Nepute coming in from the Show Me State, and we're out here in beautiful sunshine state of Colorado, and this is episode 167 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. And we have Dr. Nepute here with us. And man, it's so good to connect with you today.
Jim, it's great to be with both you guys today. You know, I love and appreciate the work you guys are doing, and you're making a great difference out there. And I just love it. So keep up the good work, keep fighting the good fight, and keep telling the truth, fellas. I appreciate that.
Well, you know, that's one of the reasons why we created this show, was to keep free speech alive and well in the chiropractic profession. Right. And I think so many times when people see the work that we do, they don't realize that the people that fund us through sponsorship are supporting free speech in chiropractic.
Yeah, amen, dude. Amen. And we need more of that. We need more free speech. We need people to be able to listen. Jim, this is the way I look at it. You know, everybody's got their own truth, right? Everybody's got their own perception of reality, right? And regardless of what your truth is, you need to scream it from the mountaintops, because you're going to attract into your life the people that believe the same way you believe and are looking for leaders to step up. And now more than ever in this world, we need certainty more than ever. And that's what the people want. So what you guys are doing great. And I love that you're giving, you know, the folks like myself a platform to communicate our beliefs, to say what we think. And here's the deal. We don't all have to agree on everything. That's one thing that we all need to understand. It's okay to disagree, right? When I was a kid, my mom taught me a lot of things. One of them was sticks and stones will break your bones and words will never hurt me. And by the way, what other people think and feel about you ain't none of your business anyway. So you do you and I'll do me. And let's go ahead and just do that and see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that that's something that we've been experiencing for a long time is people have gotten into their groove, if you will. Sure. And now people are out of their groove.
Yeah, I understand. Totally.
So we need to be sensitive to, you know, the idea that, you know, sticks and stones are an issue, and it is none of our business what people think about us. So yeah, I think we have to also, my mom always told me it doesn't cost you a dime or a nickel to be nice to somebody.
That's right. That's good advice. That's really good advice.
I think we need to get to that a little bit too. But let's turn the conversation back over to you. And as we always start our Chiro Hustle interviews, we always like to ask the chiropractor that we're interviewing to tell us their story and what makes them unique in the chiropractic space. So what influenced you to become a chiropractor?
Well, that's a great question. And first of all, you know, I've always been intrigued by the human body, right? I've always, you know, when I was a kid, I started eating differently than other kids. I started exercising, bodybuilding, powerlifting, and I was really big into sports, right? I knew I wanted to do something in the health space. I didn't know what that was. So my whole life, I was really big into sports and athletics. And so, you know, ended up getting a scholarship to play football in college, which was a blessing. Because by the way, I was dirt flow po. My family was so poor we couldn't afford the R. So I needed some help to pay for my school, right? So I go to school and I'm playing football, and I was pre-med, biology major, the whole 9 yards, because I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know what that something was until really my sophomore year. I knew I wanted to get into healthcare a little bit deeper. And the team doctors that I played football with, they were orthopedic surgeons, and I idolized these guys. I really looked up to them. They were my heroes. I wouldn't say I idolized them, but I heroized them, right? These guys were cool. They knew stuff. I mean, everybody had got their problems fixed by them. So I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. So I got accepted into Northwestern Medical School. I was already ready to rock and roll. My senior year in college, I suffered an injury to my neck, a brachial plexus injury. And I didn't know what happened, man. I'm at practice. I tackled somebody like I've done literally tens of thousands of times before. I immediately dropped to the ground. I couldn't feel the right side of my body, my arm and my leg. Nothing would work. And come to realize I herniated a disc in my neck. I had some impingement on my spinal cord and some nerve issues. I remember going to the hospital scared to death, not knowing, 21-year-old kid. All I knew in life was sports and athletics. And I remember the next couple of days talking to the neurosurgeons and the doctors and the orthopedists, my friends who I heroized, right? And they said to me, Eric, listen, you're never going to play sports again. You'll be lucky if you ever move your arm again. And there's nothing else we can do to help you. And I thought, oh my gosh, my whole life was completely ripped out from underneath me. Then a friend of mine's father growing up, I grew up in a small town in central Illinois, and a friend of mine's father, which by the way, I didn't even really know his name. We called him Doc, right? He was a chiropractor. In fact, he was a chiropractor, right? That's the small town I come from. And he reached out to me and said, hey, why don't you come see me? I think I can help you. You ain't got nothing else to do because your season's over anyway. And I had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I went to go see this man. And after two visits, I could move my arm again. My pain was gone. And after a couple weeks, I'm back in the gym, bench pressing 350 pounds again, back working out, thinking in my head, I'm going to make a comeback to play sports again. When I had a realization, again, growing up, I was a faith-based guy. My family took me to church. My parents always talked to me about faith. And I realized that God put this in my life for a reason. And I remember talking to my friend who's a chiropractor who helped me, who changed my life and saved my life. I remember saying, I want to learn more about this chiropractic because I knew nothing about it. All I knew was chiropractors were quack doctors. They weren't real doctors. But one changed my life. And so I said, I'm going to go check this out. And I went to Logan, which was close to where I grew up. I grew up in central Illinois. I went to St. Louis to go check out Logan. I went for one of their open house days, and it just made sense to me. And I remember the day like it was yesterday, Jim, going home and telling my parents, hey, I'm not going to go to medical school. I'm not going to go to Northwestern. I'm not going to be a surgeon. I'm going to go to Logan Chiropractic University and become a chiropractor. And you'd have thought the world had ended for my parents. This was, by the way, when ER was real big. They thought I was going to be the next George Clooney. Well, brother, that obviously didn't turn out on multiple levels. But at the end of the day, my parents were so freaked out because they're like, what are you going to do? You're not going to be a real doctor. You're not going to change anybody's lives. You're not going to make any money. What am I going to tell my friends and family? And man, it was a really rough, a couple months until they realized, hey, there's something to this. And I became so on fire and so passionate about finding the cause of the problem, Jim. And that's the thing, finding the cause. And chiropractic and natural healing helped me understand the cause of things. So that got me into it. And then fast forward, I got into chiropractic, got into practice. Chiropractic answered all these questions. Here we are now, multiple offices later, doing all the stuff like we're doing with you. And it's just been a blessing from God the whole way on.
Well, you said a lot of things that I would just like to touch on. Number one is being an athlete and getting an injury. A lot of greats have found chiropractic through an athletic injury. And I think it's really cool to hear your narrative of going to the small town doc and hearing like the old wives' tales of what the doc was. But all of a sudden you go see this doc and you get these miracles. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things that in chiropractors expect miracles because you see so many, like people just get better. And it goes to the philosophy that the body needs nothing extra in it. It simply needs no interference. Yeah. So when they clear up that interference, voila, right arm's working, 350-pound bench press, and you're back, man. And that's the beautiful thing about chiropractic is it's a solution.
Yeah.
And it's non-pharmacological.
Jim, and that's the thing is, man, and I get excited, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I get real passionate about this because I can't unsee what happened to me. So you can't tell me this doesn't work. And now here we are, hundreds of thousands of patients positively treated and changed later. You can't tell me this doesn't work. Like if somebody says that chiropractic is not a solution to improve the quality of your health, that means that person is ignorant and they don't know. And it's our job to educate, inspire, empower, and inspire them to take that because this works. You can't tell me it doesn't. I'm living proof of it today. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, it's great. And it's fire equals fire. And before we finish today, we'll have an inferno out here with all of our chiropractic feels. And I think
Yep.
that's good. It's good, man. It's good to really share why you like this beautiful profession, because I think, like you said early, people misconstrue it, and they still misconstrue it, and they still don't know the depth of that. It is a science. It is a philosophy. It is an art. Malpractice is low. Chiropractors don't hurt people. Chiropractors improve quality of life outcomes. So when we think about this stuff, we have a lot to be thankful for chiropractic. But like you said, community outreach is probably our most important aspect that we need to leverage right now, because people are they're not informed on what it is and what it isn't, and they listen to the cousins, neighbors, brothers, uncles clause that says, I know somebody went to the chiropractor and they had XYZ happen. Yeah. But they didn't tell you that the other person that had XYZ happen was awesome.
Yeah, you're right. I totally get it, man. I see it every day. Listen, one of the things I love, doctor is Latin for teacher. And more than anything, I love to teach people. I love to see that light go on and they go, why didn't somebody show me this before? And I get to experience that every day of my life. And it's such a blessing. And I owe that all to chiropractic. So it's an amazing thing, man. I just love it.
So on your journey to become a chiropractor, have you collected any favorite quotes or mantras or motivational words of wisdom?
Well, I mean, the power that made the body heals the body is my premise. I mean, the body needs no help. It just needs to get removal interference. I mean, it's just like people say to me, Dr. Eric, you're so smart. You're like a genius. I'm like, my genius is I'm not that smart. I just take the basics of what works and apply it. Like, I know that if I turn that light switch on, the lights are going to turn on. I don't need to know how or why that works. I just know it does, and that's okay for me. And by the way, that's okay for the millions of patients that are getting corrective help chiropractic care all the time. So, I love things like that. I love, I love the motivational aspects of chiropractic. I love, on the wall, one of my practices, I've got BJ and Dee Palmer quotes all over it talking about, man needs no medicine. Man just needs to get back to the basics of life. I've got a Thomas Edison quote that talks about how the doctor of the future will instill his focus on the framework of the spine and nutrition and not worry about pharmacology. And that works. And by the way, I'm not against that, because you guys remember, I have a really interesting, unique practice. I have an integrated practice, but it's all chiropractic and natural based. Even though I have medical doctors, I have chiropractors, PTs, nurse practitioners, they're all looking from a natural standpoint of how to help the patients. And we've educated them on how the body is powerful and it can heal from all things. We just need to give it the things it needs and remove the interference so that the body can heal itself. So those things like that are great for me.
And I think you said something also there it's really important to discuss is bridging the network and knowing who to work with in the healthcare arena. And I think that that's something that's been also misconstrued, is it's us against them. And I think that when you realize it's us all, like another one of these common things is we're all in this together. Well, that's where chiropractic and the medical industry needs to start saying, hey, least invasive first, this second, this third in the hierarchy of needs, and say the chiropractor is port of entry, and let's get people checked and see if we can save them time and money and make their lives better quicker.
Two things I want to say about that. Number one, when I started practicing in St. Louis almost 15 years ago, it was about 6 months into my first private practice I had. And I had one of my close friends who I became friends with, he's a pain management doctor, a spine surgeon, and by the way, an amazing guy, just an open-minded guy. We became friends before we became partners, if that makes sense, colleagues and worked together. So he trusted me. And I remember I said to him one day, I said, Tony, send me the worst 5 cases you got. Give me the toughest cases you've got. Give me the 5 worst you got. Give me 6 weeks with them, and then let's sit down and see where things are at. And I remember coming back to my office one day after lunch, and this doctor who's a 6'6", ripped up black guy who's an amazing dude, he's sitting in my office in my chair, and my office manager goes, hey, Dr. Tony's in your office. You can go talk to him. And he's sitting there with his hands on his head on my desk like this. And I look up, and he looks up and he goes, bro, I don't know how you do this. He goes, every one of those people are better with what you've done. He goes, I got to tell you, I'm excited, but I'm also confused. I've been doing this for 25 years, and you've been able to do in 6 weeks what I haven't been able to do with these folks in years. And I'm scared because I want to learn how to do this, but I'm scared because I've practiced the same way for the past 25 years. I don't know how to change. And then I said, all right. And that began my journey into integrative medicine, where we now have chiropractic as the portal of entry for all of our doctors. When you come into my office as a patient, you come in and you're seen by our chiropractic department and our medical department, and everybody gets the input for the patient of what we feel needs to be done for that person. And everything in my office is around the chiropractic adjustment. We have cardiologists that work in our office. They know that if the vagus nerve isn't working, they're going to have problems with the cardiovascular system. Our cardiologists refer to the chiropractors. Our pain management doctors know that none of their treatments are going to work with their patients unless the joints are properly moving like they're supposed to and the muscles are balanced. So they refer to the chiropractors. Our pediatricians with ear infections and colic and other problems, they know that you've got to go see the chiropractor first so that we can get the baseline right. And then if that doesn't work, then we can intervene as needed. And Jim, it's grown so much since then. I mean, that's how I got into IV nutrition and personalized nutritional therapies and all the other things we do. It was because of that one moment in time when I made a connection with a medical doctor. We became friends, and our intention was to help our patients. First, do no harm, and second, do everything we can within our power to help our people. And it's expanded ever since. And that's where we developed our what we call our Nepute wellness method, which is all about we find the cause of the problem. We have a sign in our office that says physiology never lies. We test, we don't guess. And chiropractic is as the center of that.
Right on, man. Listening to the depth of what you shared, there's a lot of people out there right now that are probably having like fireworks go off in their heads because you just probably lit some people up and let them know that it's okay to work with other healthcare providers.
Jim, can I say, let me say one more thing about that, because I know with great happiness and great joy, there comes also confusion and probably sadness. There probably are doctors out there that are going, man, what's this chiropractor doing working with the medical doctor? What's this chiropractor doing working with a therapist? You know, those people that are hate straights or whatever the hell you want to call it, that stuff's got to stop. And let me tell you something. Last year alone, my offices were responsible for over 350,000 adjustments. Okay? 350,000 adjustments. So for anybody to poo-poo that, they need to pull their head out of their rectum and realize that we're changing our community's lives through chiropractic by using this integrated model. So I want people to just open their minds and open their hearts and know that we can do better and we can do greater and serve more people by properly controlling the healthcare flow with chiropractic at the center of that community.
Well, that's a magnificent number, but there's this other chiropractic philosophy that's called limitations of matter.
Right.
And when somebody comes in after 50 years of not taking care of their spine and they're like, hey, can you fix me with 3 adjustments? You're like, man, let me take an x-ray. And you're like, wow, you have some degenerative disc disease. You have no disc space between L4, L5. Like, we can adjust you all day long, Holmes, but you're going to have an issue. Like, there's going to be something going on, like, because you let this thing carry on so long with abnormal, posture. And now this thing is like thin, and now we're bone on bone. And I think a lot of times when people don't really understand the chiropractic lifestyle, you have to bring those people in as individual cases. And then you're like, wow, you need to go see this guy, or you need to go see that gal. And I think that's where practicing responsibly is so important.
Of course it is. And if we remember, what are the 3 T's that cause subluxation? Thoughts, traumas, toxins. So if thoughts, traumas, and toxins are the cause of subluxation, and the chiropractor only alleviates the subluxation through a chiropractic adjustment, and we're not looking at the thoughts, traumas, or toxins, I think we're doing a disservice to our patients. So in our offices, we measure thoughts, traumas, toxins. We do blood draws to look at their chemistry to see where they're at. We do urinalysis tests to look at digestion. We do x-rays to look at their structure. We do surface EMG. We do thermography. We do heart rate variability, all these tests so we can measure the physiology so that we can see what's really the underlying cause of these problems. And again, the adjustment. Every person that comes in our practices, the adjustment is the core of what they're going to be getting, but we're going to add those ancillary services to help them with thoughts, traumas, and toxins so they can understand better and live, Jim, like you said, that chiropractic lifestyle.
And what you just said is Reggie Gould's chemistry of life.
Yeah.
And that's straight up thumping the green book philosophy. And like
that's how I practice.
And when people think about like the chemistry of life, that's the human body. And when you get a chance to make a positive physiological response on somebody through the chiropractic adjustment, that, you know, that's really why I fell in love with the profession, because I believed in it 100%.
Yeah.
And I had to like make sense to myself. Like, I was like, well, what can I believe in going forward to focus my attention, time, and career into to support and champion? And I was like, I know that there's this thing called chiropractic. I grew up in Davenport, Iowa. I knew that there was like this great family, this Palmer family that started this school. I was always intrigued by the people that were going through that area of town. And I was like, wow, this chiropractic thing is the future. I thought, honestly, dude, it was, when I first jumped into the profession, chiropractic was going to be like, it is, but I was like, this is going to be like the future for like healthcare of our country. So like today where I see it, I still feel that much passion, but I feel like I've been doing some effort with Luke, and we've been doing some effort as a team to be able to make sure that, you know, what the Palmer stood for and what you stand for, the people that need it, now they're starting to get uncoded to say, man, this is the same thing that Jim Chester had a light bulb moment with about it. It is the greatest thing in healthcare, and people do need this, and people do need to be fired up about it. And we do need to figure out how to get this to everybody, because, you know, as you said, when you correct the subluxation, the person lives a better life.
Mm-hmm. Of course. You know, Jim, it's all about education. And to me, it's really simple, man. Who needs chiropractic? And the answer is everybody. And for those individuals that don't feel that their community needs to see them, they need to send them to me or someone else that knows that they all need to be seen. Listen, when I was in school, I didn't understand the whole idea of let's just see them 7 to 12 times. And if they're not better than 7 to 12 times, then you need to get rid of them. What the hell does better even mean? I mean, what the hell does that even mean? Better. Just because their pain's gone, that means they're better? I can't tell you how many times we've had patients that have come in our office and we've measured their levels. And let's say they've got, you know, CA125 levels that are high, which is a cancer marker, or their thyroid markers are off the charts out of balance, or their cholesterol levels are bad, or cortisol, or whatever biomarkers are bad, or heart rate variability is crap, and they're at a risk of having an autonomic storm. And we adjust them, and they come and they go, you know, I still occasionally get back pain, but now their A1Cs are normal, their labs are good. Like, to me, it's like, you're welcome. That symptom-based stuff sucks. All of our patients know this straight up with me. My team members go in the room and say, listen, before Dr. Nepute comes in and does the consultation, make sure that you're really aware. The reason why we get great results is we do not focus on your symptoms whatsoever. He's not even going to ask you about them. It's my job to ask you about them. He only cares about your physiology that's out of balance, and we want to fix the cause of the problem, not your symptoms. So these doctors or people in the community that say, well, we're going to treat them till they get better. What the hell does better even mean? And I'm asking them to define that, because that's what I want to know, because I don't know what better is. In my world, you're better when you're under chiropractic care. For how long? From the time you're born until the time you're dead. Why is that? Because chiropractic care helps balance the body physically, chemically, and neurologically, period. And so if you do the chiropractic consistently, people get great results. They live a happy, healthy life. And you can't tell me that doesn't happen, because I'm living proof that it is. You can't unsee what I've seen. You can tell me that you have, but the reason why you're telling me that is because you haven't seen it. And that's what people need to understand.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, Angela Pearson, author of I'm Not Contagious, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
Judging from how the profession is doing today, where do you project it going in the next 20 years?
So that's a great question. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you that it's going to go, we're at a crossroads now. It's going to go one of two ways. Ever since I've been in chiropractic, I've heard every year, there's never been a greater year to be alive than now to be a chiropractor. That is so true now more than ever. The world is now awake. It's 2020. They're seeing with 2020 vision that the system of sickness and disease ain't working. That the system that got us in this mess ain't working. They need another delivery system with another set of eyes, another set of ears, another mind, another heart that can help them get to the promised land. And so I see chiropractic as a great opportunity now to make that right-hand turn, to step at the forefront of healthcare, truly at the forefront. I've got hospitals that are asking me every day, they want me to put a wellness center in their facilities because they know that's where the future of healthcare is. It's not in giving drugs. It's not in doing tons of surgeries. It's getting them in from a wellness standpoint. People want prevention now more than ever. But it could also take a left-hand turn. And if chiropractors don't get together and get our heads out of our rectums and understand of the trials and stresses that are in front of us, they're going to take that left turn. I'm not going to go left. I'll take a right turn. I know where I'm going to go. I hope that the profession goes the same direction, where we are taking care of millions and millions of Americans every month in our country is what we should be doing, lowering the healthcare costs, improving the quality of life, helping more people get less sick. That's what we need. But if we don't stop the fighting, the arguing, and the bullshit that's happening in the profession and the egos that are fighting, then we're gonna go make that left turn. I'm not going to, but others will, and others will follow those people because they have less certainty than themselves. And I'll tell you this, and I mean this with all my heart and with all love and appreciation and a respect for chiropractic. I have an amazing life because of chiropractic. My patients and my family have an amazing life because of chiropractic. I'm nervous and scared what the profession's going to do if they don't see the truth, that it's their job to step up now more than ever. The world is looking for a leader. The world is looking for leadership. If we don't step up and step out and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, the world is going to continue to be misled and misdirected into what got us here in the first place. Einstein said many things that I love, and one of them is, if you continue to do what you've always done, you're going to always get what you've always gotten. And the definition of insanity, which we're living in an insane world right now, is continue doing what you've done expecting a different result. It's now time to step up as the leader in your community. And you can do that. Every one of you can do that. We just need to step up and have some balls and some ovaries and make it happen. My 2 cents.
So on the topic of being a leader in your community, what are some of your favorite marketing tactics or marketing strategies? How do you get so many people in your office, and how do you get your message out to the world?
I keep it super simple. Passion, certainty, and truth. That's it. Believe in who you are and what you do. Stand for something. Guys, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. I mean, that's a philosophy and a principle of life, just like gravity. Number 2, tell your truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and stand on that. And number 3, believe it till there's no tomorrow. Stand up for it and fight for that truth. Put your money where your mouth is. And that's one thing that I don't see. Unfortunately, there's a lot of pseudo leaders in our profession that aren't talking the talk. They're talking the talk, but they ain't walking the walk. You want to know why? You want to know why most people are going to be offended when they heard that last year we were responsible for over 350,000 adjustments? Because they don't think that's true and possible. Why don't y'all come down to Missouri? It's the show me state. I'll show you. Because they think that if they can't do it, if they haven't done it, then I'm doing it wrong. No. Let me tell you something. My door is open and always open because I want people to know the truth about what's possible. And I talk about that. So how do I do that? I do radio. I do Facebook, social media. I get on TV as much as I can, and I do dinner workshops and lectures around the community because I want people to be in my energy field. I want them to hear me talk, and I want them to feel my passion and certainty about what I believe in. and I'm going to tell them the truth. And by the way, when somebody comes at me, you got to be ready. You got to be ready when someone comes at you with opposition, because you're going to be challenging their limiting beliefs. If you say you don't need all those drugs, all you need is this, this, and this, and chiropractic will help you, and someone says, well, how do you know that? You better be ready with a response and an answer. And people are going to follow he or she who has the most certainty and who gets the most results. If you can do both of those, it's unstoppable. And chiropractic will let you do that.
My brain is swimming with the content that you're delivering to us today. One of the things that stormed up inside of me was that people lie, numbers don't. And I think that's something you're talking about, responsibility with truth, is numbers are real. And that's something that when you can stand on, that's really important to be able to share that, because that's a lot of adjustments. And, there's chiropractors out there that wish they could get 100 adjustments a week or in a week. And please remember this, that I have multiple practices. I have multiple doctors. I'm not adjusting 300,000 people a year myself. Do you understand that? Please stop your limiting. This is the problem with the profession. Stop your limiting capacity. Stop thinking that there's not a way that you can do better. Like, you can do better. Listen, the best example I got, I was so blessed. I've been so blessed to have people in the profession that have let me observe them, watch them, and be with them. I remember there's a dear friend of mine who practices in Tennessee, and I wanted to get to a certain number of adjustments per week by myself. And I just couldn't see that. My mind couldn't expand to that level of capacity. So I went and spent a day with him, and I saw it in a day. And guess what I did that next week? I did exactly what he did, and now I'm doing more. And it's not about the numbers, it's about my expansion. But once your mind is expanded, it cannot contract anymore. It's just that simple. And we have got to stop being so compact, so contract-minded. And it's not a pissing game of how many people you can see or how many people you can help. Whether you want to see 5 a day or 500 a day, whatever your passion is, you should do it. But you got to own that. And you got to own that and stop complaining because he or she or somebody else said or did something different than you. Stop it. Stop that. Stop making excuses. Excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got them, and they all smell like you know what. So I'm going to challenge everybody right now. If you're not where you want to be, there's only one person in the whole wide world that's responsible for that. You better pull up a mirror and look in that thing, because that's where it's coming from. If you want to be a certain person or do a certain thing or have a certain something, you got to step up to that greatness. And that takes a process, time, mentorship, but it really takes one thing, a decision to do it. Most people have decided to play small. Playing small serves no one. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. You want to know one of the reasons why people in the profession don't know who I am? Because I'm too busy talking to the people than to do the circle jerk chiropractic that's all around the world right now. People that are all they're doing is spouting off from the stage, trying to get money from other doctors, promising big things when none of them are even doing jack diddly squat in their own practices themselves. If you want to judge someone, judge them by their fruit, not by from what they say. That's one thing I'm going to encourage everybody in the whole profession to start looking at. Well, a lot of posers out there. You're on fire, brother. And I know. I have a question, then I have a lead in. But
okay.
When in your career did you decide it was important to go and mentor or shadow this doc that was doing big numbers? How long were you in practice?
It was about 18 months into practice. And okay. What I realized was what I was doing wasn't working. What I was doing got me to a certain level. Now you got to understand, I'm an ex-athlete. I told you that's what got me into chiropractic. How do athletes become successful? They have a coach. They have a mentor. They have someone that they learn from. They have to have someone they learn from that's above them, right? I don't want to learn from somebody who hasn't achieved what I've achieved. I want to learn from people that are up here. And so the only way that I can grow, the only way that the mind can grow is to expand. Wisdom, which is the true key to expansion, is applying that knowledge to your life. So you may go to a seminar, you may come spend a weekend in my office, you may go do something with me, but if you don't apply those things that you learn immediately, not in a month, not in a week, not in a year, not whenever you get around to it, immediately application, you lose that opportunity when that opportunity was there to help you expand. You know, I remember hearing a story about, it was at was it Roger Bannister who ran the was it the sub 3 minute mile or something like that, and nobody could believe it was done. And then all of a sudden he did it. And that next year, everybody did it, or 4 or 5 or 6 people did it, because once that one person saw it, now the expansion of the mind and the consciousness got bigger. And now everybody goes, well, if he did it, I can. And that's what I thought. And that's what I'm going to tell them. Listen, you guys, I'm the son of a poor pig farmer from Central Illinois. If I can do things like this, so can all of you. There's way smarter people watching this than me right now. There's way more educated people than me watching. But you know one thing that you will not get? You're not going to find one person that's going to outwork me. You're not going to find one person that's going to out mentally work me. I'll tell you right now, this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I put my money where my mouth is multiple times with this. I would rather die than have somebody out-compete me and tell me they're going to outwork me and help my patients the way that I can. It's not going to happen. I've got that in my mind. I'm going to get to a certain level of success and a certain level of helping my patients, because the one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to succeed. And that is a mindset as well. That's not something I was born with. That's something that develops over time, because you have to. People talk about success. Success to me is not money. It's not things. It's not stuff. It's about making a big impact. And I mean a big impact. And there are people that say, well, I want to make a big impact, and they want to see 5-10 people a day. You're not making a big impact. You're helping those people, and that's good. But a big impact is a quantitative number that you can take to the masses. It's all about serving the masses of asses. And that's what I want to do. I want to serve enough people to make a tipping point in the world, so that chiropractic and natural healing and what I do is at the forefront of it. And it's happening, man.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of people out there campaigning in the chiropractic profession to take chiropractic fast forward and to serve more. One of the things the lead in after that was chiropractors should be adjusting each other too, man, and they should be taking care of each other. And that's something that you were talking about, is like the collision of differences in the profession. And when we think about, there is a collision of difference, but if chiropractors just start taking care of each other more, there would be more connection for growth and potentiality within the profession too, because now you're joining arms with each other. And I think that if a chiropractor is watching this right now, go hit somebody up in your town and become friends with them and set up like an adjusting day where you get checked and taken care of too. Because I think one of the things in the profession, why it isn't going as great as it should, as quick as it should, is chiropractors aren't getting the proper care that they need either.
I would give you a big amen on that. And I would tell you that here's the deal. You want to know in my opinion, here's the problem. And I don't speak proper English, so here you go, fellas. This is hillbilly ease right here. They ain't enough woke chiropractors in the world right now. There's one thing that's causing a problem. It's the ego. And let me tell you something, fellas. Your ego ain't your amigo. And that is a huge problem. Everybody's got a pissing contest about this, or they're arguing about that. Who cares? Get up and serve people. Get up and go to work. Who cares what this other person's doing? Who cares what's going on over there? Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I've probably had more board complaints filed against me than probably any other chiropractor practicing right now. And you want to know something? I'm not proud of that, but I own that. You want to know something? You know what 99% of them come from? Other practicing chiropractors that have ego problems. They've got all these other issues, and they're scared because they're like, well, if he's doing all over there and I'm over here, that means I'm weak and he's strong. No, you gotta do is pick up the damn phone and I'll help you. All you gotta do is come over and I'll show you what I'm doing. There's 3.2 million people in the greater St. Louis area. There's no way I can see them all, but you know what I'm gonna do? I sure as hell am gonna try, and I'm not gonna stop until I get as close to it as I can. But you know what we can do? We can get together. We can send that patient to you, and you reciprocate it back. I mean, it's just, it blows my mind how small-minded thinking most professions are, but especially, and I'm going to say, unfortunately, some of the folks in our profession as well. And that's not a negative dig. That's just the truth. And if you start to own that, listen, if you're a patient and you come to me, here's what I'm going to say to you. I want to find out your goals, and I'm going to find out where your health is. My job is to bridge the gap between the two. So if you're struggling in practice, get with somebody who ain't. And let's learn how to bridge the gap between the two. And by the way, there's a lot that I can learn from somebody that's doing a different technique than me, seeing different people. That's how I've expanded my practices, is because I'm in a constant state of learning and applying. The problem is most doctors learn things, but they don't apply. You see, I have all these doctors. I had a doctor come to me, this was about 10 years ago when I was 4 years into practice. He says, who do you think you are, young man? I've been in practice 30 years. You've been in practice 5 years. Who do you think you are? And I said, listen, sir, no offense, but you've been in practice 1 year. You just repeated it 30 times. I've been in practice 5 years, and I've changed and I've evolved, and I'm evolving even more. So why don't we evolve together? If not, I'm going to pass your ass up. And then one of these days you're going to ask me for help. And guess what? That's true. And I'm not trying to be egotistical. I'm coming from a place of humility and humbleness with this. I'm extending an olive branch to the profession saying, listen, what are you going to do? You're going to take that left-hand turn? How's that working out for everybody? Or are you going to take that right-hand turn and take our place at the table where it's supposed to be, helping masses of people, getting involved with other types of professions, really making an impact in your community, and people really truly getting their lives changed because of the work you're doing and inspiring and motivating them? Or you're just going to go work your job and be complaining that other people are doing better than you?
Well, here's the thing. What was done before obviously wasn't working. Because if it had been, we'd be at that proverbial tipping point that you discussed. And we wouldn't have to keep on pressing so hard with the chiropractic truth, because people would then tell the truth to each other. And that's really where we start winning. And people that will always tell you, oh, I don't need to do marketing. I have a referral-based practice. Like, we're fine. We don't need more new patients. Like, there are some clinics out there like that. Sure. I guess what's your advice to people that stand on that?
If that's what they want, then that's what they want. You get what you get when you put in the work. I mean, but I want to tell you, I've had a lot of people say to me, I've got a waiting list practice. And I go to their office and I go, well, there's only 20 people that you've seen today. How do you have a waiting list in your practice? Well, I can only see so many people. Great. Then you need to expand your business. See, most chiropractors have a job. They don't have a business. They have a job. They work for themselves. They have a job. They can't take vacations because they have a job. They don't have a business. They have a job. So whenever you want to expand and you're at capacity, you have to do one of these things. You either have to add time, add speed, add hours to your practice, hours or days, add systems, which is really the big thing, or add team members. So you have to learn how to expand. So to me, I will never be a waiting list practice. You want to know why? Because I will add systems, I will add hands, I will add hours. Somebody calls, if I have a screaming low back pain and you call my office and I go, yeah, we'll get you in. It's going to be 2 weeks. What do you think is going to happen to that patient? They're not going to go. They're going somewhere else, Jack. Or they're going to go, these chiropractors can't help us. They're going to get surgery. That's where I was going. And so that's the problem. You can have a job if you want, but I'd rather have a business.
So what's your favorite way to stay connected to your patients?
Tell them the truth and talk to them. Listen, I am the most transparent, real person you're going to find. How I'm speaking to you right now is how I speak to my patients. It's how I speak to my children. It's how I speak to my wife. I just am who I am, and I own that. And so, I mean, I just connect with them every day. You know, I am friends with our people. Our people, we have a relationship, and that's what it is. But it's not a relationship where you're coming in and telling me about the baseball game and what color is the sky today and how was the fishing trip. We have a relationship that I'm your leader when it comes to your healthcare, but we have a relationship where we're working together on that. And so I like to I connect with them. We train our team to understand how to communicate effectively to people. And when I communicate, I don't use big fancy words. I like to use small, simple phrases. You know, I'm a Christian, and in my opinion, Jesus was one of the most effective communicators on the planet. And that dude never said anything. He always spoke in parables. So I like to speak in parables. I like to have analogies because people go, that makes sense, and then they move on. So that's how I work.
I like that. People are, if you paint a picture for somebody in their mind, they never forget it. Like, you can't unlearn it. And I think that's really cool when you teach people through magical words, and people are like, wow, yeah, a light switch, my health. Yeah, that makes sense. A dentist, x-rays. Yeah, that makes sense. I probably need to get some x-rays so I know how my spine looks, because the dentist x-rays my teeth, so he knows how my teeth look. And then when you start building these like easy bridge gap, like, conversations with people, they're like, hey, go see that dude. He'll take a picture of your spine and tell you what's going on with it. Have you ever had that done? And then they're like, nope, I need to go see him.
Yeah, nope. Common sense is not that common, gentlemen. That's the problem. Common sense is not that common. Let me say it again. Common sense is not that common. That's why we create our Common Sense Health page on Facebook. That's what I speak with my patients in common sense language. And people always go, that makes sense. Yeah, because it's common sense when you explain it to people simply. You don't got to get fancy, use big fancy doctor words and all that fancy stuff. People say, well, you sound like an idiot when you talk. Guess what? I get kick-ass results, and I see a lot of people. Sue me.
So let's talk about you personally a bit. When you're not seeing patients, what books do you read? What other podcasts do you enjoy? And what are your hobbies?
So first of all, my passion is educating people. And let me tell you this, I'm a very competitive person. I was a football player, right? I was a 5'9", 230-pound football player. So I had to be super competitive, right? And I had to have that edge. And so I'm constantly studying. I'm reading functional medicine books all the time, functional neuro books all the time. I'm looking at I'm reading all about gut health. I'm always studying everybody else's stuff to see what I can learn, how I can better help my community. Because if I can better help my community, that's going to help me be a better communicator. And so I like to put all that together. And then, what do I do for fun? Pretty much that. But I'm also, I'm a dad. I got 3 kids. My son is a high-level competitive baseball player, so we spend our weekends traveling the country with him playing baseball. My little girls like to go fishing and frog hunting, so I take them and do stuff like that every chance I get. My wife and I have been together since we were in 8th grade, so I try to take her out on a date night at least once or twice a week if I can, and I just spend time with my family. There's only 24 hours in a day. I work a lot. And I'm with my family a lot, and I'm really blessed to be surrounded by a really good core group of friends. And I know you guys can appreciate this. The bigger your mind expands, sometimes the smaller the network of your friends really gets, if that makes sense. So I've got a really good core group of primary chiropractors and world-changing entrepreneurs that speak into my life regularly. And man, I'm a gun-fearing, God-toting, conservative Christian American, so I go to church every Sunday, and I read a lot of Christian books, and I'm real big into to putting positivity in my mind, especially in the world that we live in, especially today now more than ever. I'm a big fan of garbage in, garbage out, so I put good in, so I get good to come out. And man, my favorite podcast is the Chiro Hustle. Come on, who are you talking about?
Yeah, man. Well, we appreciate you sharing everything that you've done today for us and making time for us, because I know that's our one valuable asset that we don't get back. And that's the one thing that makes us all the same. We all get the same amount of hours and minutes in our day. And when we can give that to people and give it for a good cause, it will make an impact. And that's why we keep on showing up. That's why we keep on asking the questions and delivering these chiropractic stories, because I've always told people, it's not the person in the room with the biggest house and the most cars. It's the one with the best story that's the most valuable. And that's why you, my friend, have created such a successful life for yourself, because you tell people good stories. And thank you for sharing your story today with our Chiro Hustle audience.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I love and appreciate the work you guys are doing. Anything I can ever do for either one of you, don't hesitate to ask, and keep up the great work. And I'm just telling you, the work you're doing is making an impact, Jim. Don't stop what you're doing. Thank you both.
So
awesome.
where can people go website-wise or social media-wise if they wanted to learn more about you and what you're doing?
They could go, we're all over social media. If they just go to Eric Nepute, that's ERICNEPUTE on Facebook. We're all over there. We've got a Facebook page called Common Sense Health as well. And our Wellness Warrior, if you go to here's one of the boxes. It's Wellness Warrior, wellnesswarrior.deals. They can find more about us there. And we're all over the place, man. I'm not hard to find. So just just ask, and we're here to help.
Well, that wraps up our episode then. Thanks, Dr. Eric, for being our guest today, and I hope I get to meet you sometime.
Likewise, brother. Have a blessed day, guys.
Look forward to our next opportunity. See ya.
All right, take care.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.